One innocent distraction has carried this tiny chick far beyond the safety of its family. But something built for survival has already noticed the young wanderer. In seconds, the peaceful morning becomes a survival crisis. But the catch was fast. But on the savannah, possession is never the same as safety. Its nose can uncover hidden prey. But today, that same sense may be warning it that something else has caught the scent. And whatever is hiding in that grass is not coming alone. The scavengers have arrived, and they are already dividing the battlefield between them. One distracts from the front, the other circles behind, a simple tactic that has stolen countless meals before. Most animals would surrender the meal and walk away. The honey badger chooses something very different. The first move comes fast, but this is exactly where the honey badger's unusual defense becomes dangerous. Thick, remarkably loose skin lets the badger turn inside an attack, transforming a vulnerable flank into an instant counter. Now the real plan is revealed. The first jackal was never the thief. It was the distraction. The theft fails by inches, and suddenly both jackals are close enough to strike at once. Outnumbered 2-1, the badger refuses to surrender the center of the fight. What was meant to be a coordinated ambush is becoming something far more dangerous, a fight on the badger's terms. The first crack appears, not in the badger's defense, but in the confidence of the attackers. Their greatest advantage was coordination. Once that disappears, two hunters begin to look like two separate problems. The jackals finally decide the meal is not worth the risk. For the honey badger, it feels like victory. But the challengers are gone. Against two rivals, the honey badger has kept control of the prize. Every scent is checked, every horizon scanned. Nothing moves, and confidence begins to replace caution. It believes the battle is over. But far beyond the clearing, something much larger is already closing the distance. Then the ground answers with a warning. One heavy impact after another, growing closer every second. Suddenly, the sunlight disappears beneath a shadow, far larger than anything the badger has faced this morning. The giant has returned, the chick's mother above the battlefield and driven by one instinct. This is no scavenger bluff. The mother is offering one final warning before instinct takes over. The warning is over. In an instant, the giant turns two powerful legs into a storm of speed. One explosive kick changes everything. The hunter who refused to retreat is suddenly fighting only for distance. For the first time this morning, the badger makes a different calculation. The prize is no longer worth the risk. She does not need to catch him. She only needs to make one message unmistakable. Keep moving and do not come back. A narrow crack ends the chase. The fearless fighter has finally found one opponent it would rather never face again. The threat has been driven away. Now every instinct pulls the mother back toward the tiny life she fought to protect. Seconds ago, she was a wall of speed and power. Now that same strength becomes something gentler, protection. One uncertain step becomes two. And beneath the watch of a giant, the smallest survivor. The battlefield is left behind, but survival demands one more thing: distance from danger. The animal famous for refusing to back down has learned a temporary lesson. Sometimes survival means staying hidden. Only when the threat stays behind does the mother finally turn away and lead her chick back toward the living savannah. Out here, safety is never a place. For this tiny survivor, it is the shadow of a watchful mother. Dust settles, voices return, and the savannah resumes its ancient rhythm as though nothing had happened at all. Fearless does not mean foolish. Today, even the honey badger learns that survival sometimes begins. Two survivors leave the same battlefield in opposite directions, each carrying a very different lesson from the encounter. The struggle felt enormous while it lasted, yet the savannah is already erasing the evidence. Out here, there are no permanent champions, only animals making the right decision often enough to see another day. Protection is not a single act of courage. It is a constant watch, repeated with every step. On the savannah, every creature is watching something, and every moment of calm is earned through awareness. Strength may win a confrontation, but protection gives survival a future. And beyond the battlefield, another task remains: finding the trail that leads this vulnerable youngster toward its own kind. Through the shimmering heat, familiar shapes emerge. After danger, distance, and dust, the path home is finally taking form. At last, the smallest figure in this story disappears into a forest of protective legs. For now, it is one mother stopped the danger. Now an entire group stands between the chick and the open plain. The lesson changes his direction, not his nature. Survival means moving on and searching for the next opportunity. There is no permanent peace here, only moments of safety and the instincts that make those moments last. A false alarm this time, but on the savannah, surviving often depends on treating every movement as if it might matter. Defeat does not end the day. Hunger returns, instinct takes over, and the survivor simply begins again. Survival is not only defended, it is taught. One glance, one movement, one instinctive lesson at a time. Courage has not left him, but after facing overwhelming power, even the fearless begin to respect the warning signs. For a young animal, survival can depend on something as simple as staying close enough to stand inside another creature's shadow. Across this endless wilderness, every morning begins the same way, with another test, another choice, and another chance to survive. Out here, there are no invincible animals, only survivors who learn which battles are worth fighting. Her strength is measured not only by the force of her legs, but by what that strength is willing to stand between. The savannah keeps turning, where every sunrise brings another struggle, one more lesson about life. Even in safety, the watch never ends. Rest is possible only because someone remains alert. Hunger pushes animals forward. Thirst makes them stop, and stopping in the open always comes with a price. Different bodies, different instincts, different choices, but every life on this plain is driven by the same command. Safety on the savannah is rarely accidental. Sometimes it is simply knowing where to stand when the world opens around you. Earlier, a strange scent might have invited a challenge. Now, caution gets the first decision. Survival is not always proved by standing your ground. Sometimes, the smartest victory. Survival is not always proved by standing your ground. Sometimes the smartest victory is the fight that never begins. One turn of the trail may look insignificant, but in the wild, a single decision can separate survival from disaster. The legs are still small, but every step is stronger. Survival has already begun shaping the youngster that will. The fight is finished, but its lesson remains. Boldness has limits, while protection can turn. The danger is behind them now, and with every steady step, the morning's terror becomes another lesson carried forward. The bruised pride fades, the trail continues, and the savannah swallows the lone wanderer back into its endless maze. Ferocity can overpower the weak, but when strength is driven by protection, even the boldest challenger can. By sunset, the smallest survivor is still moving, protected, learning, and one day stronger than it was at dawn. Every sunrise brings another struggle. Every footprint records a decision, And every sunset belongs to great savannah keeps turning, where every dawn is a battle, every sunset is a lesson, and the instinct to protect life.